plane is up and in the air. We're going to be starting off over Primorsk and ending off to the west of Severny, right next to Stalber as well. Pretty much everything's going to be on the table except for Milta, where we saw one of our games in yesterday on Erangel, so maybe we'll stray away from that location. Downside, though, we do have that whole shooting range situation that we might be seeing again.
Of course, 2 of those games to start match 1, match 2. Good to bring that up. Another thing I really wanted to touch on quickly, of course, some of our best teams that we've had on Erangel so far at the event. Most namely, the United Kingdom. 82 of their points have come on Erangel. They only had 13 on Miramar. So if they're going to continue to be able to keep up with the best teams here at this event, well, Erangel seems to be the map for them to do that. Australia as well, the second best team on Erangel, 54 points for them.
Expected to be pretty good, except for China inside that list.
Yep.
And that's no surprise, all considered. The way that we're going to see this play out, everybody knows what to expect when you're moving into it. Miramar is a little bit more fly by the seat of your pants and savior. Oh, VHZ, that's not the way Brazil wanted to start today.
Yeah, certainly not. Obviously, the talk of the town has been all about Brazil and their performances.
As we're looking into these last couple of days, if you're not doing well on the leaderboard, that's going to be an even bigger mental problem to surmount.
Yeah, certainly have to agree with that one as we watch Indonesia now, of course, from APAC. Pretty much like those around them on that leaderboard, you know, Germany, Canada, maybe not the highest of expectations. And in some way, 31 points, you know, basically only 1 point behind Canada and the USA. I think they've done all right. I mean, many people really wrote off Indonesia as a region that wasn't going to be able to do all that well at the event. And of course, you know, they're in the box of shots, drive-by here on the Chinese Taipei, who are just trying to get past them, and will do so successfully and intact.
That is telling for China right there, having a duo lined up, waiting across that bridge and not getting a knock there. That's the whole premise on why they were holding down that position. They are only holding 2 members at this point because they are running a 2-2 split right now, which have been hit or miss here at this event.
Yeah, certainly. I think that, you know, there's been some discussion around it. Obviously, when you look at the benefits, and it's been something that's been in the meta for so long, but as Galucia finds a knock, hang in a second, of course, the crowd gets excited, and I thought for a split second that Uaz was about to run over Micah. That would have been awful. Ming Ming, though, spots Teddy, tried to sweep stop at the last second, didn't get out in time, and Kid X falls to X left. This is the duo for China at the down planes, and that is going to be the flush onto Kid X. Unfortunate for Indonesia. They got through one roadblock, but straight into another. Ming Ming up close, can get Nile here with a quick headshot, lands it, didn't get the down, and they're both on about the same health.
Chinese Taipei heard this and just cuts to the north. Xlift trying to flank around at this point, but you can see just trying to recover at this stage as this has been a hard push. Luke comes up on the other side of it. Drive-by to finish it off. Indonesia is eliminated. And that was a much more, I guess, aggressive China.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Indonesia as well. The other 2 members of China were pretty quick onto the rotate, got into the UAZ and made their way over, and you saw the seat swap from Xiaolu at the end. Keen, knock onto Sharp Shot. That is further pain for the USA. I look back and I try and see if I can find Toffees, because he has been having a hard time, Matt. I know you have as well. It hasn't been going well for your boys.
Look, I can't say anything about USA's performance given my fantasy performance, but we're living the same life right now, to say the least. China's still holding down their position. I think that USA was holding a forefront position just to the north of Rajak itself, along the river, and it's going to be a slight skirmish between them. And Japan does have some angles on what's going on, but I think that the res has already come out on USA's side, so really just some attrition battle that's going on right now. No big push coming out. USA throwing out some feelers, now going to regroup as, again, 2-2s seem to get punished regularly.
Yeah, and what's interesting, though, and I think the desk brought it up, but the USA are just constantly finding themselves in these early engagements, and whether or not it's just a knock that you get res and then you rotate away, it's still something that a lot of the other nations are not really finding themselves in that position.
Seen them in Vietnam, who has been a mini rivalry that has been brewing up, and much to the chagrin of USA, I would have to say. And, well, sometimes that just happens. That's Pubg parking at its finest.
Certainly. But you can see how congested that north portion of Roshok over the river has already become. Vietnam, Japan, USA, Turkey, Germany, etc. There's not a lot really out towards the sides. You got Argentina, UK, Australia out towards the east, and out west, okay, there's a couple of teams there, China, Chinese Taipei, Thailand, etc. So very congested towards the center point. We do get our phase 2 circle shift. Of course, shooting range still in there, but, you know, there's a lot that it can go anywhere else.
I like to look at the modifications as we are seeing similar circles. Remember, Korea has been playing down inside of shooting range. Canada's now got that under control. So instead, Korea's playing up along the hillside, which is known for having good vision and also the capabilities of rotating out significantly easier than shooting range itself. Meanwhile, as we're starting to see, Australia has been coming in from the east. They had a much more forefront rotation and have been closer to the center, to the north of shooting range regularly at these stages, and instead now are the latecomers into the circle.
And remember as well, as we watch sort of Brazil making their way past Korea, Chinese Taipei and Turkey around that era, they've only got the 3 players, so they're looking to probably now play this game rather defensive. They're not going to want to push on any teams. They're going to just want to try and find a dip, find a bowl, try and find somewhere they can hold up. And it looks like actually they're going into shooting shooting range and just sort of banking on that, and they'll keep quiet for the next circle or two. Glorious finds a knock onto Canada. I don't know if much will come from that. Of course, Canada, as you said, around that shooting range area, but they've also got 2 players over towards the crossroads south of Severny, so a pretty aggressive split.
And look, just Brazil making the push down in there. John Lee being feisty, going over there, going to get keen, get the knock onto him. Starting to see drive-bys becoming more and more effective as we move in. Canada now making their rotation away from this, going to regroup, so that means the fact that shooting range now does belong to Brazil. And Chinese Taipei.
No teams behind them, only China above them as well. So that western side that we've got for phase 2, rather open. And again, we still got that center congestion, but also now out east, Argentina, Chinese Taipei, Australia. And Australia's position at the moment quite perilous too. Really going to find themselves in a position where they're stuck on the edge, 2 teams in front of them. They'll have to push forward, take these fights. If they get the kills and they get those fight wins, it'll be great. If not, it could be a disaster waiting to happen.
Australia's been on a slight slide down this leaderboard, and this could be an opportunity for them to move around. USA getting some sight lines onto Thailand, taking some shots, but doesn't get the knock into him. This is a much closer range fight than I think that anybody was planning on. It's going to be a much larger split as well, as Thailand is now trying to regroup quite quickly around Eskaluska's position. The other 2 members for USA are still caught up, taking shots into Japan. So that means that there's going to be a lot more pressure onto Sharpshot and his crew as the circle does pop and shifts slightly away from shooting range.
We'll take it, Matt. We'll take it.
It's
honestly, at this point, I don't think it's going to end up in shooting range here for phase 3. We've seen enough information, so what does that mean? I think, honestly, Korea might have the best spot at the moment.
Yeah,
a little bit elevated, they got trees, they got good sight lines, it's going to make it difficult. You've also got Canada's position, like you said, the crossroads south of Severny, really good position. Teams can maybe send it into their late game, but it's difficult. It's a lot of very open and flat terrain as well outside around that sort of center point. Vietnam, of course, at the moment, dead center for phase 3, so they're catching a couple of circles.
This circle also very favorable for Chinese Taipei as they were making their roam around. Argentina did get a feel on what's happening. These teams that were playing along the edge, Australia as well in this position. Now, you can see all crammed up inside this shack, and this is going to be a problem. Martinson's already making the push into it, a couple of shots coming out. This is Ali RV. He's got the nade prepped and ready. They have stepped away from the shack. That could provide them some form of safety, but it's going to bounce right in there. Beautiful throw to start it off.
The other 2 players, though, for Chinese Taipei, they're on the backside into the smoke, so obviously not all of them going down to that 1 nade, and Ali RV only had the 1 nade, and Australia hear the commotion. They just dig over. They'll get the free shot onto Yan Lee through Monty. He gets the down. They do need to convert these, though. Australia can easily steal these kills away from Argentina, who probably at this point do not want to push any further over that ridge. Knowing Australia is watching that, they fall back. Smart play, but they don't get anything really from this.
If you're committed at that stage, you're already going to have to deal with Australia on the retreat. They've just kind of handed these points over to Australia if they want them now, and it was only a duo for Australia playing this, so it was a 2-2.
The other thing to note here, minute 20 seconds till phase 4, Australia are still not in the circle.
Resetting.
They actually need to get moving here, and yeah, because of this, Australia can't even flush Chinese Taipei. They have to get into their vehicles, they have to go for the rotation, where Tickleton and Luke 12 are already inside of the circle, a little bit to the south of Monty and Flood, so they can't actually take out Chinese Taipei either, and that maybe leaves the door for Argentina to collect those points.
Chinese Taipei fans are really, really happy with Australia right now, but you can see, they're still not in the best of position. They're clown carring inside of a car that is destined to explode any second. They're rolling, trying to get the shots, but it's Argentina that is just unloading yet again. Chinese Taipei tries for it, but does go down in the end.
Yeah, and Australia's going to see that in the kill feed and probably think that's 3 kill points we could have gotten, but unfortunately, it's like, do you get those 3 kill points and you're out of position, or do you get position and play the rest of the game? I think they made the right choice, and obviously for Argentina, they benefit the most from that, because there was basically nowhere else Chinese Taipei could go. That vehicle we saw quite badly damaged. They couldn't go for a long trip. Remember, they already went from west to east, so they had to go somewhere short and close. And indeed, our 2 leaders at the event, Finland and Brazil. Of course, Brazil already down to 3 players. The spray from Page is perfect. Gets the down onto LFP1. Brazil down to 2.
Finland is on opposite sides of shooting range, and that is a massive problem for Brazil. Already 2 members down. They lost 1 very early inside this game, so it is just going to be sparking up. Circle pops, and it's going to shift over into Canada's favor right along the crossroads. Shooting range no longer a part of this, and now what Sparking got planned, you can see trying to evacuate this position, moving to cars. Finland starting to get some more control, but it's going to be Korea up on the top, shooting down into shooting range.
Yeah, and this is going to get very chaotic for phase 4 and phase 5. There's not a lot of cover. Norins with the nade. Does it land onto Sol? Even if it doesn't, should be able to land a tag. With the tag and the nade, can't quite get the down. Sol, half health, gets away. Should be able to fall back. Has the cover of the vehicles. And of course, Norins pushed out pretty aggressive to try and get to that position to throw that nade. So falls back with Janku. But Korea, they're not even inside of the circle. Thailand, further back, of course, need to push as well into this. Haven, LP1, gone. It's only Sparking that's left, and he does not survive for much longer. Our leaders are out. No points from this game. Still stuck on 119. Spring from Xiaopian gets the knock on the Balmov. Eskalusia trying to fight back.
Now, Thailand has to figure out how they're going to respond to this when they've got China up in open in their face, and they've got a long trek to make it into the circle. Exclusive trying to hold it together, does manage to drop a nade on top of Yan, who's been doing so strong so far. Ming on the other side of this one, seeing if maybe he can drop one back into it, seeing how they can respawn. The other members are lining up. You can see Lu does get another drop on a Janku. So problems starting to abound. Thailand's trying to figure out how they're going to navigate this. They are all separated out, but guess what? It's going to be Korea that here's what's going on. They're taking the high ground, Hackslip, taking the shots into what's happening, but it's Nuren's on an opposite angle.
But Norens, look out behind you. You've got Loki, you've got Sol pushing on your position. Of course, this is a disaster for Thailand, but this is where Korea can start to maybe get a little bit of aggression in them here at this event. They push, they hear the fighting, they want a third party, and they get that down onto Norens. Escalusia does find the bleed out onto Xiaopian. That's a point for the home team. And somehow Loki, the USA pulled up as well. We've got 4 teams out towards the southwest map.
Everything's popping off over here. They realize it's too hard to get away. China's trying to fight their way. Sharp Shot's gonna connect on top of them. It's just violence everywhere. China's finding themselves compressed. Japan now coming in back behind USA. This is a catastrophe for everyone.
And Finland's making their way down as well from the shooting range. It just doesn't stop. It's third party on third party. At the moment, we are having a massive party and everyone is invited. Mexi finds the kill onto Lash K. Korea are just wondering what has happened. We were supposed to be the aggressors. We were supposed to be the team that clean up, and now they're just trying to run for their lives and see if they can get out of this mess.
It's damage control. Teams stacked on top of each other, just trying to step away from each other in some form or fashion. They knew that they needed points, so now everybody's trying to fight. So now looking into, gets a good spray, and it's going to be USA in some trouble trying to get away. No, just Kickstart, the only one, but he's got a gauntlet of players in front of him. Korea, though, still stacked up in this position. They've got Finland in front of them, and they still have Japan to the other side, and Axlip, China still has one member back behind.
But Japan was smart. They didn't get too close into that. They were able to keep their distance away. Aches left now with a nice elimination on Sol. China are gone, 12th place. They did find some kills for that, about 7 in fact, so China definitely benefiting from that position. There go the United States too, who somehow found themselves in that absolute bizarre fight. 10 teams remain. We've got 20 minutes gone now in this game. Finland too were kind of taking some pot shots, but they didn't get too hard involved. And this circle map right perfectly for the taking for Canada.
We're not done yet. I mean, it's just going to continue to stack up. Korea now down and out. Brazil out. Big opportunities for teams like Finland, UK, Australia, trying to net a lot of points. And if they're paying attention, and you know they are to the kill feed, they're trying to do this. UK doing a big wrap up into the north. Finland's going to be following back behind them. That could be a problem for Finland unless they scout this one out. Canada, though, is just harassing everything in the grounds around them, but can't stack up the kills. Australia, though, runs right into Vietnam, who has been a problem for every team that they've bound into.
Massive shot from Duckmai. The other 2 members for Australia pull up, and I think this might be their grave. Vietnam send Australia packing in 9th. They cannot get anything more from this game, but Glories, Duckmai both down. The pressure's not done yet onto Vietnam. Canada with a little angle, of course, from their buildings, which right now feels like the absolute god spot for the rest of this game. Smoke goes up. Vietnam now just trying to recover, get these revives. They got Shaq, but they're going to lose their vehicles.
Japan still needs to separate away from Turkey. You can see Turkey's taking the shots. Canada just harassing a lot of what's going to be going on. Turkey, how are you going to play this one? Rolling right in. Una gets a good lineup into him in one load. Wow. Just absolutely demolishes Turkey.
Yeah, and a bit of help from Polly there as well. 4 kills now for Japan. Here come Finland. They send it on to Canada. They feel like they had no other play. They've got the outside building, though. Correxi's low. Another nade. That might get the down page. Did get Shimboy. But yes, that nade from Finna got the down onto Correxi. Shimboy actually dies to his own Molotov.
I love this drop down. Oh, wow. Shimboy's got the Molotov on top of him, but using that to stop what's going on the high ground, slow it down. Finna realizing what's going on, seeing if maybe he can get a follow-up nade to boot with it. UK sees what's happening, trying to take some shots into it, and you can see it's just turning into a bigger mess. Japan, they're crashing the other side of Canada.
Yeah, Keenan's going to be so careful here. They need a bit of help from the other side of the road as well. Keen go down to Keenan. He finds that kill. Defends his building with his life diggery, just trying to get out and see if he can get up. Adam gets Polly. The Japan push has just collapsed on itself, and Canada right now dealing with both Finland and Japan absolutely perfectly as they can. Keenan so aggressive, understanding the situation, plays it perfectly.
Oh, gets right over. I love it. Rolls right into this. Adam steps out, gets the shots onto him. Japan eliminated. You can see these teams know they need points, and they have got to scrap. They are gunning for it. But every single time you get a knock, there's another team waiting to knock you.
It's only Adam that's left now for Canada. He'll have to just hold out and bunker inside of that house. Page the solo as well for Finland. Pulls out the shotgun, gets through to Finna. Another point for Finland. Now only 19 points behind Brazil. Remember to keep an eye on that battle at the top. And the United Kingdom as well tied for second. Both them and Finland on 100 points.
Do got to point out, we do have soccer that's chilling in a pretty decent spot right now. It's good to be in the center of the circle, even if it's next to a tree, because everybody else is fighting it out everywhere you can see. Argentina has had control of the East for quite a while, but the scrap has been going on to the West and to the South of their position. UK, though, have been chilling for so long. They're going to come into this quite strong.
And don't forget about Vietnam. Still got 4 players alive, and of course, they did get kind of pushed out of that top 5, top 6 when China really started making their way in for day 2. But at the moment, only 4 points behind China. They've got 4 kills, and with the 4 players up, they could find themselves in a position to get back into the top 5 at the conclusion of this game. So a lot on the line for them, and of course for Argentina, middle of the pack, big point opportunities, still 4 players alive. But where do they go from the warehouse to make their way into the circle? Do they send it onto the UK, or maybe onto soccer in the middle of the circle?
I mean, it's going to be hard no matter what you do from this position. You've got to hopefully try to lean away from UK. You can look at the numbers alive, and they've probably spotted that there are several to the north. And if there's a team that's roaming around the north, you know that that's going to be the dangerous place to approach. Instead, circle down to the south, or at least just try to use the hillside. I like this. Just navigate in. Finland's trying to survive. You mentioned the fact that they were tied up just a second ago. Page trying to see if he can get at least another point. But UK has just got so many members up, and it's just fully read by Canada.
So double solo here for Finland and Canada. Of course, Adam, the solo for Canada. Page for Finland. At this point, of course, Finland are probably happy with the way that this game has transpired. They did have to send it into the buildings, which is never going to be an easy task. They have some kills. Glories. This is a chance, though, for Vietnam to maybe start to find a couple of kills. They've got 4 on the board right now. Argentina's on the move, but where do they go? I don't know if they can go too far without pushing into the United Kingdom. So this is a chance for Vietnam to push in behind them and wipe them up.
This is, you just got to keep a constant eye on Vietnam. They will come up back behind you and destroy you.
Oh. Beautiful
angle into it. Don't even care against playing the blue. They've got the nade prepped. Are they going to opt into it? No, it's Page at range that's taking shots, reveals his position. That alerts Argentina, and they spin back around.
He only had the 1 nade, and he saw them both at the rock. I think at that point he got a little too greedy, wanted to get closer, tried to take some time, but lo and behold, Argentina, they are watching the angles, they are watching the backside, and they spot him out. So he's gone. Vietnam down to 3, and the United Kingdom hear shots, so they move over and see if they can now push on to Argentina.
Trying to make this move in, and with Argentina now having to look on a new angle, you can see that United Kingdom does have an angle of approach. Vietnam is still harassing to the south, and Argentina doesn't have the best sight lines to the north. They are aware of what's going on, but the way that's that hillside, it's just not very effective to look through. Our 1v1's now getting a little bit of harassment over there. Is it going to see Adam's golden shift down?
And UK
hold it. See how this one goes. I know we got just a couple of seconds before we find out where all the violence is going to be moving to. Is UK going to get lucky, or are we going to see it shift away and actually go into where pretty much no one is?
Yeah, I still think this probably favors the United Kingdom. 4 up north side, no one behind them. They can obviously gatekeep Argentina. Soccer's a solo. Adam and Page solos, and Vietnam down to 3 on the other side of the map. So this is all set up for a UK win, which right now, of course, I mentioned sort of coming into this game, they've been the best team on Erangel at this tournament. They've been absolutely dreadful on Miramar, but they have been so good on Erangel. So if the UK are to win Pubg Nations Cup, Matt, they need to keep playing like this, and they do so here for day 3. Page goes down. Haizaki picks up the point there for Vietnam. Finland out in 6th. It also means UK in sole 2nd place.
And it's just going to continue to potentially grow. Argentina is the big factor in what's going to be happening, as Vietnam, I guess, has decided that they want Adam's soul, and they're on their way for it. Just stacking up all that's happened. Perfect time on the other side. Argentina just rolls right into United Kingdom, and it's just like waiting arms. They just get annihilated and pick up so many points.
And I wonder if maybe they were caught off by Varden Fex, who were just a little bit more further in front, and obviously didn't give away their position.
Okay, so we've got Vietnam in the south. We've got UK in the north. But let's not forget, Zucker is still here, and he has not made a sound in, I don't know, like, since yesterday.
That's
it
true.
feels like.
And we know what solos can do. We watched yesterday.
Can you imagine if Vietnam gets Vietnamed?
Whoa. Well, I mean, at this point, obviously, Vietnam are probably the team that would maybe benefit. I think there's a chance if the UK don't sweep properly and they miss soccer, he could obviously cause some damage to them, and that would then help out Vietnam. So we'll see what happens. It's not a given at this point because of Zocca, but if the UK find him or if Vietnam find him at this point, then I think the UK win comfortably. 7 kills right now. They can obviously get a couple more, plus the win. It will put them neck and neck with Brazil.
The hillside provides a lot more movement and vision for the UK side, so that means the fact that they can spread out and get some firing angles. Vietnam does have the capability to fire back through this, but you can see that they're looking uphill into a very actively moving UK, and that's going to make it much harder because whichever way Vietnam has to respond to what's going on, there's going to be multiple firing angles coming at them, and that means that there's just no protection in this wide open uphill push.
Yeah, and they're playing really cautiously. Obviously keeping close to each other. You do not really, even a duo that sweeps together could easily both get double knocked and flushed, and that causes them to lose out. Now, Sapao, you may as well take the point. There might be some people that say leave him and see if he catches out the UK, but also it can go the other way. So you get rid of him, you get the kill, you guarantee 2nd place. Now it's a 3 versus 4, and you don't have to worry about a snake sitting in the grass. So for Vietnam, it's not unwinnable, but they're heavily spread. UK have the numbers up close. They will be able to overwhelm come unless Haisaki gets an early knock.
Here comes the push onto it. He's laying down and waiting for it. Vietnam sent one member off to the other side, but T-Bone reads it perfectly. That's a quick pickup. Are we to see Flores manage to make magic happen yet again? That is a strong UK front on one side of it. Michael, I think, has fed some information over and said, hey, I've spotted another one. Let's not play this one too aggressive yet. The circle is popped. We can get control over it yet again.
Yeah, really smart from Michael, holding that anchor position. So obviously there for the United Kingdom, they had essentially a 3-on-2. They get the kill, they fall back, they don't get too aggressive, knowing Cloris is throwing those nades. UK are just playing this really, really safe, really smart. They want the win. They do not want to be in a position where they throw this away. And also, the blue is also going to start forcing Vietnam to push. So as long as they don't get, a little bit too antsy, they play patient. It's UK's game to win every day of the week. There's no way Vietnam win this.
And it's only 10 points to Brazil right now. Every single point that they can pick up, these couple of kills, getting the win is going to put them so close to Brazil. They know that. They want to play safe. They want to play it cautious.
Beautiful.
Just play it technical, just like that. Play it easy, get the win, and now UK has a shot at going for first.
The best team on Erangel could end up being the best team at this event when it's all said and done. 9 matches to go, and the UK are right up there at the top of the standings with this win. Another